Hello, Internet, and welcome to another episode of ShoutStone. Shalthis here, as always, and I'm bringing you another Shoutcast from the Hearthstone Beta. This match is provided to me from a user by the name of Lotuscobra, and this one will be a bit of a warrior rogue action. So why do I waste any more time? Let's get into the game right now. Garrosh versus Valeera. They square off one-on-one, so Battle Rage, Loot Hoarder, and Frothing Berserker to start things off. Seems like a reasonable hand, and he's just going to keep it. So Valeera, kind of a little bit of an unknown hero of choice. As you can see here, a little bit of a... you can kind of see a little bit of a bug there in the end turn button being completely green without any words in it. And that kind of happens from time to time. Some words just disappear randomly. I've seen hero letters, like in their names, the hero letters just disappear. Alright, Loot Hoarder. Hitting the field. When he dies, you get to draw a card. So he's a good kind of sacrificial minion to have that Death Rattle ability. Basically, that's what Death Rattle means. Any ability that triggers when they die. I feel like that was a waste of a backstab. Maybe not. It's hard to say. Depends on what else is in the deck. Well, Frothing Berserker is going to hit the field. We're going to see kind of how Valeera needs to respond at this point. Deadly Poison. Gonna try and take her out herself, maybe. Yeah, it looks like she's got just enough. Eat 1 point of damage, take the minion out. Drops a Dread Corsair for free. Very nice. That was a pretty good play. Worth the 1 point of damage to claim that Enrage minion, which could have become a problem, but didn't have a chance to. So, all well and good. Alright, so gonna drop that Arathi Armorsmith, which will equip a 2/2 weapon for Garrosh on its battle cry. So far, still a pretty even contest, but that's usually how these opening moves go. Unless something really substantial happens to kick things off, it's just going to start off this way, pretty slow. Good Sinister Strike with that Spell Power buff does manage to do 4 points of damage, and that's something that a lot of people don't consider. And I think it is worth considering. Spell Power affects abilities, not just spells. Like, you don't have to be a mage or a warlock just to use a Spell Power deck. Rogue spell power decks are actually something that people have tried. I personally have not tested it myself, so I cannot attest to how successful it is. But I've had a lot of people who tried that as a deck composition, and it might work. So right now, Lotus is trying to figure out exactly what next move to make. But yeah, don't be hesitant about spell power minions if you're building a melee deck, unless you have some kind of greater purpose behind your deck. Play with it, you know? Play with the concept of a rogue spell-powered deck. I've had people try it and see if it works for you. You might find a way to make it work. Malygos would be an excellent minion for a deck like that. Might be dropping that Cruel Taskmaster. No, I guess not. Just going to attack the Taunt minion outright, and then drop the Cruel Taskmaster to finish it off. Things still looking pretty even. Lotus is at a slight health disadvantage, but to be perfectly honest, it's not that much. Not at this point. Will eat a point of damage. Oh, that's actually a very clever move. If he's looking to build up that spell power, that's actually a pretty clever move right there. Going to play Eviscerate, and that will deal 5 damage off the combo. So this rogue player is starting to assert himself, or herself. We'll say herself because the hero's a female. I don't know the gender of the person playing, and that's fine. So now it's a matter of really Garrosh needs to figure out a way to kind of shut this down, because now things are going to start to get a little hairy. Gonna drop another Loot Hoarder. Maybe. Gonna contemplate dropping another Loot Hoarder. And he will throw on his armor up, which is one of the, it's a pretty potent ability that I think a lot of people kind of undervalue. But until they face off against a warrior deck. Once they face off against a warrior deck, they no longer look down upon armor up at all. Because in conjunction with a deck that produces a lot of armor, it can be, yeah, Armorsmith is a perfect card to complement a warrior deck. Because you can just amass large amounts of armor. And suddenly your health disadvantage is no longer a disadvantage. But it's still early, so we'll have to see exactly what Garrosh wants to do, because could take out that 4-drop, or that 4-attack minion. Can't take out the spell power minion because it's stuck in stealth. That's the choice he's going to make. He's only going to eat 2 points of damage thanks to his armor up. Now putting that Berserker out there, which will gain attack power if it's attacked and not killed. But Valeera's just going to bypass and attack with her weapon once again. Drop it down to 2. She's got the, she just equipped an Assassin's Blade, so... Oh, and Assassinate to clear house. So much for that guy. Armoring up again. Dropping that Frothing Berserker, looks like. Thinking about it, and down it goes. And followed by the Acolyte of Pain. Great card battery usage here, so you can get some more cards out of that deck. More options means more ways to victory. Armorsmith's also very useful to counteract the intense amounts of damage that you can take in a deck like this if you don't have like sufficient taunt minions or anything like that. Because you will be the focus for a lot of incoming damage, and right now Garrosh is down to 10 HP, but all is not lost. Do not worry. Looks like Valeera is actually going to take out the minion instead. We'll gain attack power, but doesn't do it any good because it's dead. Acidic Swamp Ooze could have been useful. Will deal a couple points of damage to claim the armor off Garrosh. Has that Mortal Strike. Acolyte of Pain still alive and ticking. So right now, he's going to drop that Armorsmith to try to build up a little bit of extra armor at this point. Does armor up once again. Could just bypass those minions, deal a quick point of damage to Valeera, or sacrifice the minion to gain an extra card. That's another option as well. Because it will give you the card, even though it'll die, because it still took damage. Obviously, the ideal situation is to have it take multiple points of damage, so you get multiple cards out of it, but that's not always the case. I actually kind of like pairing that up with the Northshire Cleric in a priest deck, and heal him up every time he takes damage, so that way you're constantly getting cards from both of those minions. Gonna do Mortal Strike on the 3/3, looks like. Indeed. And now the only option left is to attack with that minion, and just gonna tag the hero really quick in the jaw. But turn is up right as the timer was popping, but looks like it's all good. So where I'm going to use Shiv to get an extra card, claim that extra point of armor. We are watching and waiting at this point. Sorry for the silence, but right now there's a lot of strategy kind of being planned out to figure out what move she wants to make. So we'll attack with that Swamp Ooze, boost up the dagger damage, and strike again. This could take... Cobra's in a or Lotus is in a dangerous spot right now. You know, again, it's not the end of the game, it's not the end of the world, but it is certainly a dangerous spot to be in. Alright, he is going to sacrifice the Acolyte of Pain to get another card out. And now it's just a matter of can sacrifice that card to take out the Swamp Ooze. Also has that healer to cover a couple points of damage, which could be useful. Could play that after the attack to get the health back on the minion. Plays Battle Rage to get a few more card options. And yep, gonna attack to take that minion out. Now can play the healer to recover that damage. Yep, so that'll recover 2 points of damage for everybody on the field. And quick threaten as the turn goes past. So, Garrosh up to basically 9 points of health at this point. So, It's not the end of the world yet. Very nice move, playing Betrayal on that minion to take out the minion to its side. Another Shiv. Deal a quick point of damage. So that Armor Smith went down, but it did give another point of armor to Garrosh. But still trying to play those cards for more options, and that's really all that needs to be done at this point. Alright, another Eviscerate put into play. Only deals 2 points of damage, but 2 is better than nothing, especially when you're down to 3 HP. So unfortunately, Valeera's only option at this point is to really just, well, no, not going to attack with that stealth minion. Could have, but not going to. Wants to keep that protected. Another armor up to sit at 5 hit points. Another Armor Smith comes out. But still has a lot of mana left, so still quite a few options at this point. The healer has a good 4 attack power, so could take out that troublesome 4/4 minion that's constantly feeding the rogue player cards. Might drop another Berserker. Debating. Pondering. We'll drop it. And we'll play Whirlwind. And that will do the necessary 1 point of damage to not only give him another point of armor, but to also give a boost to the HP to, or boost to the attack power, I should say, to that Berserker. So now, as you can see, Garrosh back up to 9 HP. Oh, another Key Assassinate. Very well played. It's a good strategy to get that out there. But the card options are a little low. Fan of Knives, that will do enough to trigger another point of armor and not finish the minion off. So as it stands right now, all the damage that's being dealt is giving armor to Garrosh, who's now up to 11 total hit points. So, starting to get interesting. Triggers it again. This is where things start to get a little out of hand in a warrior deck. If you don't address that armor, then it'll be trouble. So Acolyte of Pain back out, another Weaponsmith to get that 2/2. Another Threaten. Could choose to attack at this point. Is not actually going to. Okay. So I guess he's holding on to that weapon for now, probably weighing some other options. Seeing what options he gets. Ironbeak Owl will shut down the card battery power of that Acolyte of Pain. Another Fan of Knives, buffed up by that spell power minion, which is still in stealth. So it's still being super effective in that role. But she's going to attack to take out that minion instead. That's an interesting move. I don't know why that minion was chosen to be taken out. But uses Perdition's Blade to claim the last minion. So the board is clear again. We'll armor up once more. Drop Wild Pyromancer. And we'll strike to claim 1 minion out. So, alright, once again, we are back to a relatively even field. Garrosh still sitting at 13 total HP, but Valeera's at 22. So it is a sizable advantage, but you can see she is running out of cards. And that's when things start to get dangerous. Alright, another Dalaran Mage put out, and another Ogre Magi. So this is trying to be, it actually clearly is a spell power rogue deck. So we can see how effective it is, and it really just depends on the other card options that come out to, make a really adequate decision. But Garrosh will now swing wildly for the fences. Gonna drop a silence on that. Another silence on... Oh, that's a great play right there. 2 silences to shut down the bonus spell power of those extra minions and basically make them just minions. Which is nice and all, but, that's not really the point. That's really a good way to shut that down. And this is a pretty interesting circumstance, because you're not going to always run into circumstances where a player's going to have 2 minions that can silence, or all these silence options. So I wouldn't necessarily say that it just, ruins the benefit of a spell power deck for a rogue or a melee class. Just makes it a little... something to consider. It's one of the weaknesses of a spell power deck for any class, not just rogues. Alright, gonna buff up again, get another Execute. Gonna Whirlwind. and will execute that other minion. So the field is clear, and it is basically an even game at this point. It's 15-13, thanks to that armor up. But the rogue has the slight card advantage, and all that our warrior player has is another execute. So we'll have to see how this goes. But here comes the fatigue. Now this is where things start to get hairy for the rogue player. She is on the clock. Every fatigue turn, every time another card is drawn, it's going to cause progressively higher damage. More and more every single turn. So Cruel Taskmaster, no, not going to drop it. No, it doesn't look like it. Nope, just going to pass the turn, cause another fatigue. Now it's up to 2. Again, it increases per +1 damage every single turn. And it gets more and more, and it starts to put the pressure on. It really does. So you got to have a lot of options if you're going to wait so long to make your move. But she's going to try to whittle down that armor. It's really all that you can do at this point, because that armor is what's keeping Garrosh in the game. Well, he's going to armor up again. Can heal with that minion. Will do that. Cruel Taskmaster and an execute to clear the field once again. Another fatigue, and there's the 3. This is not looking good for the rogue player, who was at a pretty sizable advantage, but the power of armor has proven to be just a little too much, I think. And the fact that this game has gone on a long time, and fatigue is really starting to set in. So Blade Flurry starts to even up the field. Quick head crack to get it back. But I think we all know time is up for the rogue player, who will eat 4 damage on this turn and is essentially out of options, because he basically has to deal a good 13 damage on this turn alone just to win the game. But that is not going to happen here. But we'll at least deal 1 more, just to whittle that pointed armor off. But all he has to do is literally pass the turn. He can attack with a minion if he wants, and he will. Game over in favor of Lotus. So, if you needed any further proof about the power of armor and the benefit of that to a warrior class, look no further than this game right here. Armor up and all the other abilities that grant you additional armor can make your opponent's life miserable. So don't ignore those cards and the beautiful synergy of just getting more and more armor in a warrior deck. But that is going to do it for this episode of ShoutStone. We'll be back tomorrow with more, as always. I appreciate all your views, your comments, your likes, your subscriptions, but I always appreciate a little bit more. So, again, thank you so much. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Links are in the description below. And I will see you all next time.